Timesink is the weekly podcast to let you know what's worth sinking your time into. Head to timesinkpod.com for more information like our rating scale, show notes, social media, videos, and more. Go, 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 go. Welcome to Timesink, the weekly podcast where we ask if it's worth your time from TV, movies, video games, and more. We rate content not on its quality, but if it's worth sinking your limited free time into on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 put it at the top of your list, 1 not worth your time. I'm your host and pop culture super junkie Sauce, and I am back from my vacation. Thank you for letting me take a week off. And this week I am joined by Mr. Hummer.
Who goes to Connecticut for vacation?
It was a wedding, so I didn't choose.
Sure.
And Brad.
Man, I just hope it didn't ruin things when I sent a bottle of sparkling apple juice to your house. Did you get it? I sent a bottle of sparkling apple juice to your house. Did you get it? Well, he never got it. I never sent it.
Damn it, we're going to have to tell that story now. We got a great episode for you this week. This week, we're going to explain that joke. Also, we're going to talk about...
I would like to laugh. I would like to be able to laugh.
It's more of a reference than a joke.
Yeah. We're going to talk about E3, specifically the Xbox showcase and a little bit of the Nintendo showcase, In the Heights, and Biomutant. So stick around. We got a great episode for you. But yeah, let's just go ahead. I'll let Brad explain what the hell he's talking about.
There's really not that much to explain. It's a very underrated Saturday Night Live skit from an episode that Bryan Cranston hosted back when, I'm going to assume it was back when he did the first Godzilla movie, because that was like height Bryan Cranston of pandemicamonium. Is it okay? Is that okay? But great.
I hit the wrong one. Damn it.
Oh, that's terrible. We'll have to work out those cases. Yep, there we go. Anyways, it's just a great skit starring him and Fred Armisen, where they literally just sing that line that I sang over and over again with some small anecdotes in between that shows how terrible they are. And I sent it to Sauce saying, hey, this could be us doing the podcast in 30, 40 years from now. Just, hey, remember that one time we did an episode about Among Us? Did anyone listen? Does anyone listen to that one? All right. We made the top 150 in our country for like 1 week. Is there anybody in the back listening? No? All right, cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. All right.
Yeah, the worst part about it is Brad got it stuck in my head for like a week straight. And then I had to share it with people, right, to try to get it out. And then I just got it stuck in their head.
It's like a virus. Is that okay? You said COVID was over. You said it was over.
My wife. I did that to my wife.
You gave your wife a virus?
Yeah, I gave her the virus of baby shark, baby shark, shark.
I gotta download a boo sound effect.
Mommy shark.
Is that just like the
saucy shark, saucy shark, saucy shark.
So just so everybody knows, we use Riverside.fm to record our audio, and they just added a new feature that basically gives me a soundboard built into here, and I think my home audience is loving it.
Wow, what a terrific audience you have. That's amazing. What a shameless plug for Riverside FM.
Yeah. Why do you keep saying it? Because I get paid every time I do. So that'll be fun for future episodes. I got to download more sound effects.
And have better timing. You're no shock
DJ. Yeah, better timing. Shut up. Damn it.
You definitely need some better timings.
You're no shock DJ yet. You'll get there.
Nobody's better than the I forget his name in Parks and Recs. It's a stupid racist name, and it's hilarious.
It's not.
It's Asian Joe.
It's something very problematic every time, and it's a different guy every time. I think they go on.
Yeah, that's my new goal in life.
That's high. That's a high standard of living.
Okay, let's just get right in. So we're hot off the heels of the Electronic Entertainment Expo, E3. You know, it's the biggest video game event for what's about to come out in the next few years, which, spoiler, is not a lot. But you can't blame them because of the pandemic, COVID, all that stuff. But Brad, I know you're chomping at the bit. We haven't even talked about it yet, so let's hear what your thoughts are on the Xbox showcase.
I know you said it wasn't a lot, but like just from the Xbox showcase alone, they previewed I think some close to 27 titles, all of which will be available on Game Pass day one.
Yeah, that is huge.
Huge stuff I thought came out of Xbox, and they had to take full like they just had to rein this one in with Sony not being there. With I mean I didn't really watch the Nintendo one, so I don't really know how much stuff they put out, but like Xbox really came out hard, and it was the game showcase alone was almost 2 hours. And I took down some quick notes after watching each one, very short things. So I figured I'd rattle them off and then see what you guys think off of what I have down.
Yeah, absolutely. Right before you do, Hummer, did you watch any of this stuff, or have you? I know you've been super busy lately, so I was just wondering.
No, I mean I caught bits and pieces of the news. Basically, okay. Didn't we get some Pathfinder? Like basically, Halo's just taking some cues from Apex and adding some weird things to Master Chief's abilities.
We'll get there. So let's. All right, Brad. So let's hear what you got.
All right. So with a bang, they started out with a game called Starfield. It's a Bethesda space RPG. They really didn't tell us very much. I hadn't heard anything about it that much prior. I knew they were working on something big, and like one of the tags in the beginning was 25 years in the making. I doubt this game was in 25 years in development, but
it's Space Skyrim.
I just assume that's how long Bethesda's been around, and they were like, yeah, this is one of the original ideas we thought of, and now we think we have the ability to make it. And the opening cinematic they showed us was fire. Like highest level frame rates they could produce, all at top quality, just showcasing some sort of spacey sci-fi exploration of space stuff on Bethesda's top level game. So man, I was excited. That looked awesome. I don't know if you guys had heard anything about it, but I'd heard very, very little.
What I know is that they've been talking about it for a while, and that it's Space Skyrim, and that's all I need to hear to be into it.
I'm in. The second thing I wrote is the second announcer was really awkward. Like they should just probably hire celebrities or professional spokespeople to talk at these events, because God, it was really cringy to watch. Like it was bad. But then she previewed a game called Stalker 2, which I have never heard of. Stalker 1. Have you?
No.
Yeah. So where Stalker 2 out of nowhere. It's a FPS. It was one of like 3 games where people spoke Russian by the end of the whole thing, and it looked like a single player FPS. They fought monsters and people. It definitely looked like it's one of those games that people are going to play. Probably not my wheelhouse, something sauce I think you would play. But again, there was lots of Russian and cool weapons and explodey things. It looked pretty cool, but just not really something I would play.
Is it a single-player campaign story, or is this like
it looked that way.
Okay. Then
it
I'm
really
going to play
looked
it.
that way. Yeah.
But I never played the first one.
I never heard of the first one, so it's the second one. So then after that was a new trailer for Back 4 Blood, which, man, the more they show of that game, the cooler it looks. It really looks like they just took Left 4 Dead, the idea, and thought, how can we make it 100 times cooler? And some of the stuff they showed off in this trailer of like just jump angles and different small combat things, and then the zombies, and then getting to play zombies versus humans in player versus player, because I don't think a lot of people knew if that was confirmed yet, just the PvE stuff, but we are going to have the PvP stuff. That was a lot of fun from back then. This game, like every second of the trailer, I was like logging how many more hours I'm going to eventually play of this game. It's going to be amazing. Thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. I have nothing to add to that. I'm very excited.
Yeah. And that game comes out in, I think, October, and it looks awesome.
Is it on Game Pass, though?
All of these are on Game Pass.
Because I don't think every single one is on Game Pass.
Everything that they put out today, I'm pretty sure it said it was supposed to be on Game Pass. Day one. It was almost something they said like every time.
So here's the thing, because I think a lot of people didn't sit down and watch the whole thing, right? Or watched every single one. So I know I didn't. I did what probably most people are doing, is just watching the trailers.
Of the 30 titles, 27 of them will be included on Game Pass.
I saw that Game Pass tag at like the end of almost every one of these trailers. So yeah, maybe there's 2 that aren't on there, 2 or 3, but I couldn't tell you which one because I think I saw it at all of them. So.
And it is coming to Game Pass. I just double checked. So that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So we all know how great that's going to be. The next one was a game called Contraband. It was a very small teaser, but it mentioned the world's open world and co-op, and it kind of seemed like a heist game, maybe in the sense of like a Just Cause, but more like co-op-y completing of missions. Looked pretty cool for the stuff they showed us, but it was very little. Very, very little stuff. Then moving right along, the next thing they showed us was a trailer for a new expansion on the Sea of Thieves, which is another Game Pass game. The expansion, and I just called it the Jack Sparrow expansion because I missed what it was actually called. But it just looks, it pretty much just looks like they brought a Kingdom Hearts universe to Sea of Thieves through the way of Jack Sparrow. And I'm sure it'll be super fun for the people who play Sea of Thieves. I'm pretty sure it's just like a small campaign thing that you end up playing. I don't know how big or how small it is, but I'm sure the community is psyched for that.
I think it looks pretty cool. Does it look cool enough for me to get into it? Almost. I think I've played that game a little bit, and it's only fun, at least to me personally, if you're playing with a group of people.
Yeah, that's
so
how
you would need all your friends to play.
Yeah, that's how I got it. It wasn't fun to play by myself.
Right.
So, the next thing they mentioned was that they had put all of the Yakuza games on Game Pass, including the latest one. And, man, those games look so weird.
They are.
But they have such a good reputation. So if you're looking for something to play, man, that's 7 games, all with hours worth of content. Like, yeah, go rip them up.
Those games are so weird. I tried playing the first one, and it's like you're beating like drunk people in the streets one second, and the next second you're playing like a Guitar Hero style game, but it's you singing Japanese karaoke, and it's just so weird.
Someone's special attack in the trailer was cutting a chicken in half and it's shooting an egg out at the good guy, and he was like, "Whoa!" And I was like. Or like he said, there was one moment he was like, "It's time to phone a friend." And like that was how he special attacked somebody.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Okay, so then they gave us this crazy trailer for the next Battlefield game, Battlefield 2042. Holy insanity.
Yes.
What they are doing with that game looks crazy. Ever-changing environments, massively multiplayer, tons of abilities and weaponry. If you are into those games, those kind of open pit fire, Call of Duty games, this one looks like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And crazy.
It looks so amazing. Like, out of all the trailers from E3, that was probably one of the coolest. And I'm not a fan of the Battlefield series because I don't like military shooters, but this looks so completely ridiculous. It's like mostly, it's so over the top. It's basically sci-fi. So I'm like, I think I have to play this game. It looks so cool.
I don't play them either, but I want to try it. Like,
that looks fun.
It just looks insanity. Like there's almost no idea of controlling what is going on there. And it kind of looked mission oriented at times too, which sounds even cooler. So I don't know. It looked awesome.
It looks so awesome.
The next one was for a small game called 12 Minutes. It was an interactive thriller about a murder in a time loop involving like a couple. And the great voice cast with James McAvoy, Willem Dafoe, and Daisy Ridley. I do think that's a niche kind of game for a certain type of gamer, and they love games like that. And it looked like a pretty cool one with some cool artistry and lots of like puzzle solving probably and figuring things out of how to get out of this time loop. Not something that I probably would go for right off the bat, but I mean, it definitely had some cool elements to it, I thought.
I saw it at last year's E3, I think, and I think it's an indie game.
Yeah, very.
The studio's pretty renowned. Annapurna Interactive pumps out like pretty well respected indies, but the premise of the game is the whole game takes place in the same room that you're in, that you're trying to escape and solve a murder, and it looks like an awesome indie game. I'm definitely gonna play this game when it comes out.
Next, we got the new trailer for Psychonauts 2. I wrote down that I didn't finish or start the first one.
Same.
I know of its existence. It's very much in like the Ratchet and Clank style of artistry and fun video gamey. It just was something I wasn't interested in at the time. This doesn't seem like something I'll go visit again, but again, it's going to probably be on Game Pass, so maybe if I'm in a hole and I want to try something, you can, if you're a Game Pass member. That's the beauty of Game Pass.
I think the creator Tim Schafer is commonly considered a genius, and
the games are highly well received. I know that. I mean, you don't get a second one this amount of years later if that's not the case.
Yeah.
Is Battlefield about to be on Game Pass? Because that actually would be pretty dope. I saw it was coming out. I didn't get a chance to see the full clip, but it looks awesome. Especially because the last few Battlefields have been World War II, World War One based, and honestly, I think Battlefield 1 kind of fell flat on its face. For me, it wasn't that entertaining. I'd play all the Battlefields, including the Star Wars versions. So I think this actually looks like a nice, refreshing going back to something a little modern for them.
It is not coming to Game Pass.
Womp womp womp. But it's an EA game.
But it's EA, so it could eventually be on EA Play, which is part of Game Pass.
It all time is a flat circle.
All right, moving on. The next things they talked about were some expansions to their Fallout 76 universe and Elder Scrolls universe. And I just wrote down that I didn't realize people played those games. They boasted the size of the community, and I rarely hear anything about what's going on in these games. I just knew that the Fallout 76 one fell flat at open, and I knew they fixed a lot of bugs, but I didn't know they got people back in it. And as far as ESO, which is Elder Scrolls Online, that one I do know has a pretty good player base, but I only tried it once. I think I only made about 3 hours in the game, and then I was like, no, I'd rather play Skyrim again for the 80,000th time.
Mm-hmm. So some of the issues with the games like Fallout 76 is you have these relatively small you have a relatively large player base among all the consoles, all the platforms, but when you break them up into their individual platforms, it's a relatively small player base. And the way that Fallout 76 it's almost like Destiny. It's really hard to get into Destiny if you're a new player and you're playing with someone who's a level 5,000. It's really hard to get into it because you end up playing missions with someone who's basically doing all the work for you. So that's one that doesn't get me excited. But Elder Scrolls, I mean, that's just a classic, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to keep moving on because there's still a lot to go. The next one was a game called Party Animals. It looks like a battle brawler, and I really just wrote down what WTF because it looks like a goofy ass brawler.
They're trying to cash in on that Fall Guys style, and there's a couple of other games that are pretty similar, like Sausage Party and on Switch, and the cutesy fun battle game.
People play Roblox too. I get it. So the next was Hades, coming to Game Pass.
Yes, Hades is amazing. Play it.
It looked awesome, and it'll be on Game Pass, so I will get a chance to play it. Definitely looks cool. Next was a game called Somerville. Very artsy looking, indie game. It looked like a survival for maybe an alien apocalypse. You have a family in tow with you, so I was instantly out. I don't want to protect people. I hate that stuff. I hate that element of games where it's like, oh, you got these other people you got to watch out for. I'm out.
Brad only flies solo.
Moving on. I wrote another note. All these presenters and lead designers are bad at this. Just hire celebrities already. They were all so bad. The next one, Halo Infinite. I just wrote, I'll let Sauce take this one.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a die-hard Halo fan. I love Halo. It's one of the best shooters ever. Halo 5 is like, if I'm going to play a shooter that's versus like a deathmatch style game, Halo's the best one, 100%. The multiplayer looks so sweet. All the powers that they're adding. Yes, I know that Pathfinder has the grapple hook as well, but your Pathfinder's grapple hook sucks because it just gets you out of a situation real quick. Master Chief's grapple hook looks sweet because they're like killing guys, and like as they're dying, their shotgun's falling out of the air, and you can literally like shoot your grapple hook at it, grab the shotgun out of the air, pull it to you, turn around, blast a guy with it. Or you can do some cool stuff with it. New powers,
They definitely had some cheats. They definitely were playing with some like developer cheats enabled because like they weren't missing any shots. They were all of their shots were headshots. Like the game's hacked. All right,
I
it's
just
going to
think
be
it was
broken
scripted.
at launch.
I just think it was scripted.
Sure. Well, you don't think they got the best players like developing the game?
No.
Or actually, that's just how we all play games, Hummer, and you just need to get on our level.
Step up.
I did think it was interesting that they brought back the lead designer from Halo 3 ODST, which I felt like was kind of the last one that was like overwhelmingly well received. Like 4 people were like, yay, 5 people were like, nah.
Multiplayer 5's great.
But like 3 ODST was like the last one people were like, fuck yeah for, you know?
I can't remember if Reach came out before ODST or after.
Reach was after, for sure.
I liked Reach still, too.
For sure.
I'm excited for this game. Even if it wasn't coming to Game Pass, I might even just buy the Legendary Edition because I want some, Halo merch to go with it. I'll give 343 Industries some money, for sure.
All right, moving on. Next, the Diablo 2 remaster. I wrote, so we have it.
So you have it.
So we have it. After that, there was a game called A Plague Tale Requiem. I just wrote, you gross. Because it's a game about rats. Fuck that.
A sequel to a game about rats.
A sequel to a game about a boy who's got a rat problem. It's fucking goofy as fuck.
Pass.
All right, next I wrote Far Cry 6.
Looks awesome.
I wrote, always looks great. I'm sure I'll eventually play 10 hours, which is the most I've ever played of a Far Cry game. Because I never seem to get into them enough. But they always look so cool. They do. But I'm 10 hours in, and then I'm like, what's next? Moving on. Just like right now, unless you have more to say.
No, just, I'm excited. Watch the gameplay trailer. The main character is interesting, looks cool. The villain is Giancarlo Esposito, who's one of the best villains ever in Breaking Bad. The game looks really, really good, and I'm excited to play it. The story, anyway.
Yeah. Next was Slime Rancher 2, a game I didn't know how to run. Collect slime monsters and farm them. Okay, that's what I wrote.
Pokemon did it better.
Next I wrote was a game called Shredders. It's a snowboarding game for snowboarders. That's all it is. That's even what they said in the trailer. It's a snowboarding game for snowboarders.
I need to add the crickets sound effect.
Good for you snowboarders. After that was a game called Atomic Heart, which was another game featuring Russian language. And it just looked like a weirder BioShock, which, like, People love Bioshock, so I'm sure people will play it, and it might even be good. That's what I got for that. It was one I hadn't heard of, so I'm sure maybe have you guys heard of it? No? Yeah.
Nope.
Next was a game called Replaced 2022. Looked like a indie game, side scroller with some art choices. Moving on. After that, we got a trailer for the expansion for the game Grounded, and I wrote, "People play this? Oh, cool for them." This is a game from Oblivion, I believe, that they touted when they bought Oblivion, and I keep seeing it as one of those like games that are in beta still on my Game Pass. So I didn't know people play it, but it looks like Fortnite and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids combined.
It's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, and it's got a 95% liked rate from Google.
Cool.
Cool. I wasn't expecting that.
Cool for them. Just like that's what I wrote in my notes. Cool for them. I'm more excited.
There's a huge update in it. You have the ability to sit in chairs.
Yeah. That was the number one thing asked for. They even made fun of it in the trailer. That was the most asked for thing, is be able to sit. Cool. Super cool.
You know what we're missing?
We just want to sit down. It's tiresome work.
Do you know what we're missing in the Avengers game other than crossplay? The biggest ask, honestly, is to be able to sit when I'm getting briefings.
I just want to sit, man. Solomon Grundy won't pants too.
They added sitting to Overwatch. That's why it's the best game.
All right, moving on. After that, they announced an expansion for the game Among Us, which includes 15-player lobbies.
That's hot.
I'm sure the community will like that, is what I wrote. I don't play that game.
Can you sit?
As far as I know, only in real time can you sit, as in a real-life person. You can sit and play the game. After that was a game, I'm not going to pronounce this right, was Eiyuden Chronicle. There were 2 of them that they were showing off. And it looked like just a Japanese artistry, kind of like one of the Tales games. Not the Tales of like Borderlands, but the Tales of Symphonia and those ones. So I don't really have much to say about that. It's literally what I wrote. Mm-hmm. Moving on. The next one looked pretty cool. It was a game called The Ascent. It looked like a sci-fi Diablo, which
this
awesome.
game looks dope. But it's a twin-stick shooter.
Okay.
So like Geometry Wars Lara Croft, the one Tomb Raider version.
But the camera angle and artistry felt more like Diablo-esque.
But
or
cyberpunk.
Even more like Hades, but cyberpunk. Looked super cool. I think you and I will probably play that sauce.
Yes, I'm excited for that game. I think that got announced last year too, and I've been waiting for it to come out. Yeah.
Well, we definitely got more footage of it then. It definitely looked super cool. Next one was Age of Empires 4, I think it is. And I just wrote I haven't played one of these in a while. Because I haven't played one of those in a long time. After that, they announced there was a trailer for The Outer Worlds 2, which I wrote, the trailer literally just said, "We know we're making it and you can't stop us."
The trailer is just a parody of other trailers.
Of game trailers, yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, it was very funny, but
if the graphics are anything like what the game's going to be, it's like a complete overhaul. It looks, because the first Outer Worlds is a great RPG. Definitely play it. It's on Game Pass.
It needs to be bigger. It wasn't big enough. It wasn't long enough.
Okay. This looks like it's going to be.
I mean, it's only been out it's already been out for a year, and they have like a sequel coming out. Like,
did you go and play the
soon?
DLC? Like the DLC should have been in the original release. Nobody was going back to that game. You can beat that game 3,500 different ways. I literally watched a playthrough where he just murdered everybody. That's one way you could beat it. There were no characters that were unkillable.
That's why it's such a cool game. It's a good RPG.
But I beat it once and I never went back.
I just want to play it and go play it by killing everybody.
That's Hummer style.
You can.
The best thing is, hold on, like, so at the premise is you're trying to save like a colony ship, and you can spec out your character, in intelligence, and you can spec them out in strength. You can make your character so dumb that you blow the
talk.
end of the movie, or I mean the end of the game by killing everybody because you can't like operate like a basic computer.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
There's one that you can be so dumb where you basically can't even like speak right, and it's fucking amazing. Like all the dialogue is goofed up.
Yeah, so I think it just looks like so much better. But yeah, I'm excited for the second one.
All right. The next one was the Flight Simulator Top Gun expansion. Hummer, how hard are you right now? How much higher is your desk right now?
Honestly,
2
I'm not
feet off
excited
the
about it
ground.
at all.
What? You love Top Gun.
And
love
Flight
Top
Simulator.
Gun. Simulator.
I love Top Gun, but I don't like Flight Simulator. It's just, honestly, it takes too long, and I don't have the patience for it.
Sounds like the game Flight Simulator.
Just like the job.
Like, dude, you have to put like 4 hours into the basic training flight, and then like the game like messed up and didn't save my progress, so I had to keep doing the same training flight.
Welcome to hell.
You can't go like faster in it. Like the flight itself is like 28 minutes of doing nothing.
But don't you want to be like in that situation where like, attention passengers, the captain is suffering a major heart attack. Does anyone know how to fly a plane? And you're like, I can do it.
I have 1,500 hours on the simulator.
No, because even in Flight Simulator, like there's different levels to like how hardcore you can like simulate the flight. It is so hard. Like once you get to like no assistance whatsoever, it's like the hardest game in the world. I don't know how people have patience for it. And then on top of that, like you have to learn like the taxi runway 2 requesting permission, whatever. You have to know all the different stuff. It's just no. I'm out.
All right.
If I want to fly Top Gun, I'll go play the the Ace. God damn it, they're on number 7 now.
Ace Combat.
Yeah,
like
Ace
that?
Combat number 7.
So next was a bunch of info about the next Forza games. I just wrote, explore realistic Mexico in a car only the cartel could drive.
I'm in. Sign me up.
I can't top that. Good job.
Thank you. After that was pretty much the end, but then they gave us one more title as a bonus. And it was a game called Redfall, which looked pretty cool, but it also just looked like Left 4 Dead, but with vampires instead of zombies.
Yeah. In the
So
Overwatch style.
If vampires are more your thing, then this is the game for you. I think I'm going to probably play Back 4 Blood.
I think it's got more like Back 4 Blood's going to be more survival and shooting and gun focused, and Redfall looks more powers focused. So that's a cool mix. It doesn't look bad. It's just I don't know. It's not something I'm excited about, but it looks good.
Sure. The last 2 things I wrote were there was a name drop of Elder Scrolls 6. And that was it. That was all we got for Elder Scrolls 6. Super disappointing for that. Literally just the guy at the end who said, we make those games, remember? So instead they did talk about the 10-year anniversary of Skyrim, of course.
Of course.
And then the very last thing. The final thing that they gave us. The secret special thing at the end. Xbox will be releasing the Xbox mini fridge.
Hell yeah.
Get excited for the Xbox mini fridge.
Which you won't be able to get.
Which will be
Because
sold
it's
out.
going to sold out immediately.
You will
Buy
have to
all
pay
the bots.
17 times more. Because computers bought it before you. And they can't even drink 6 packs of soda. But that was the conference. I thought they showed off some really cool stuff, and 27 of those titles are coming to Game Pass. That's amazing. That means for my $14 a month, I'm going to get 27 games that usually retail at $60. That is exactly what I've needed out of the most a gaming industry that has been so just weaselly the last decade or so, and just continue with games that are continuing the trend of whatever games that can produce the most microtransactions will be the games that survive. Games that are single-player experiences are going to be hard to come by. I'm really worried about the next couple titles from BioWare because of who they just hired to lead up the new direction they're going with games like Dragon Age 4. So really was worried about the future of solo gameplay, solo gaming, because of the terrible industry that we are attached to.
So you don't like microtransactions? The greatest thing ever invented?
I specifically play game modes that don't support microtransactions as much as possible.
Let me play devil's advocate here for just one moment. If the microtransactions has brought us one good thing, it's that Fortnite probably showed and popularized how microtransactions can be super beneficial to the company, obviously make them billions of dollars, but in doing so, taking that money, putting it back into the game, and doing some of the most creative things that Fortnite's like, everybody's like, Fortnite now at this point, but it's still doing revolutionary things that are paving the way for the video game industry, holding events that are live in-game, like in-game concerts where like people will come and perform. They can change the environment across all platforms. They pave the way for cross-play, not just between different systems, but like with PC, and being able to take your account and play not just with the other consoles, but on other consoles and transfer all your content. Because of microtransactions, Fortnite was able to become so popular, do all these things, and now make these almost becoming standard in some of the other games. So yeah, obviously microtransactions are terrible for most people because we don't want to pay for like good content, but for the things where like paying for a skin adds literally nothing to the game, but if you want to buy that, that's totally cool. And because of that, we have all this new awesome stuff in games.
I am okay with some of those microtransactions.
In general, I'm against the premise of microtransactions. But games like Fortnite, like, because you need a very large player base to make them entertaining at all. So you have to entice people in with the freeness of it to begin with. That's basically what it is.
The real ones that are bad are the ones that require you that you can like get away from grinding through upgrading and making the game experience better for you without having to log X amount of hours. Because as those microtransactions become, more profitable, they make the grind longer and longer, and the game less enjoyable unless you buy those microtransaction things. Those are the ones I will always, always, always be against. And they will continue to be popular because people will buy them, because instead of playing the game for 70 hours sometimes on a grind mode, you can pay $30 and eliminate some of that. I just think I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's what I don't like. But buying skins, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Because it does nothing to the game.
The best thing is buying dance moves. That's the best.
I wish the loot box system would go away. Like the randomness of it. Like you should just be able to buy what you want to buy.
Yeah,
I don't like the randomness. Like I think it's too easy to make an algorithm that really screws you over.
Mm-hmm. It's like Mario Party. Like, there's no real dice rolls. They're not random at all. They totally try to fuck you over. We know.
The destroyer of friendships, Mario Party. People thought Monopoly destroyed friendships until Mario Party 2 came out.
Especially during the 50-turn game.
Oh, man. When you used to get that message for a 50-turn game, 3 hours later, nobody was cool with each other anymore. Everybody hated everybody. It wasn't like everybody hated one person. It was you had a reason to hate everyone.
50-turn game. 50-turn game. 50-turn game.
Somewhere Tito just woke up.
That's how you summon Tito to your house. Just chant 50-turn game in the mirror 5 times.
Tito.
I know we're
50-turn game. 50-turn game.
We're taking up a lot of time.
50-turn game.
I did have one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. We're 40 minutes in, but sure.
So you and I also discussed another game that was talked about at E3, a new Marvel game, The Guardians of the Galaxy, which is developed by the same studio that recently did the Avengers game. And you and I had a small discussion about that. I did watch some gameplay today, and they must have a completely different group working on that game because it looks incredibly different. I think a lot of that's because they didn't focus on any multiplayer elements, so it's very single-player controlled, and I think it's going to be really cool. I think there's going to be a lot of fun to be had in that quick game.
It does look cool. I still can't get over the second-rate MCU lookalikes. They could have at least just ripped them from the comics. That's what the Avengers game should have done. I don't know why they had to create their own thing. You could still copy the comics at least, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Square Enix dropped the ball on Avengers, so I'm hoping they don't drop it here.
I think the Avengers game is pretty good in general. I think the ball dropping is the player base being so freaking tiny, and then just this refusal to do crossplay on a game like this, where crossplay gives no player an advantage in this type of game. And it's just they're so adamant against it. It's
look.
Cool. Keep your game with no player base. Just keep it.
The single player game was super fun. The multiplayer side of it was terrible. It was repetitive. Yes. It was awful. There wasn't enough content, just like early Destiny. And they really dropped the ball with that. The single player experience they gave you at the beginning of the game, super fun. I did it twice. Super good.
Well, they've been adding content to the single player game, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah, and I've played those too. Those are both fun. But the multiplayer part of it was terrible. It was bad. That's just the way it was. It was.
I don't even think the combat and the actual gameplay is that great.
It is once you have so many things unlocked, like the extra takedowns and the extra abilities, then it gets pretty cool.
But how long does it take to get there?
Way too long. Way too long.
Just like this segment. So let me wrap it up real quick because I did want to mention PlayStation not at E3. We only really are looking forward to the next Horizon Zero Dawn and the next God of War and PlayStation. But
I thought I read somewhere that PlayStation actually historically doesn't do E3 at all.
They've done the last 3.
Yeah, they've recently stopped doing it. They want to do their own thing, kind of like how Nintendo does Nintendo Directs throughout the year. So I did want to mention just real quick some of this. I'm not going to go through every Nintendo thing that got announced, but just the stuff I'm excited for. Let's see. For Nintendo, we're getting a new Breath of the Wild, but we already kind of knew that, and it's still not coming out this year at least. So that's kind of just something put on the back burner. I am excited for Metroid Dread. There's a new Metroid game coming out in October in the style of Super Metroid, which is one of my favorite games of all time. It's so good. It's making me want to go back, bust out my Game Boy SP and play Metroid Fusion, which is actually sitting right here. I got it right there on display for everyone who's listening who can't see my background. I'm definitely going to bust out the SP and play some Metroid Fusion. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the new WarioWare. WarioWare is very fun on Game Boy. They're tiny micro games and the great party games. WarioWare new coming out for Switch. That looks fun. It's going to be multiplayer. And the other thing I was excited for is that was it. Just those 3 things. So, and Advance Wars. They're re-releasing Advance Wars 1 and 2 and redoing it. Making them a remake. A lot of those were pretty much originally Game Boy Advance games, so it's really just a throwback to my love of the Game Boy Advance. But with that said, a lot of games coming out. Not as many big reveals as we normally get because the C3 is, COVID, blah, blah, blah. But some of those things you definitely got to put on your radar. Then switching it over to the movie side of things, I definitely want to hear what you thought, Homer, because I still haven't watched it yet, but I really want to know about what you think or thought about In the Heights.
It's a musical, and it will become a classic. this is a...
Brad's got some thoughts already about that.
It's a Lin-Manuel Miranda. He actually wrote this musical prior to Hamilton, so it's actually pretty old. And I feel like they always had this kind of idea to adapt it as a screenplay as opposed to the stage musical. But I thought overall it was pretty good. It's led off like with by Anthony Ramos, who also like there's a lot of Hamilton characters or actors in it, but Anthony Ramos is absolutely like the opening is one of the best openings of a musical I've ever seen, rivaled honestly only by that of Hamilton. I think the opening just slaps. So it has that same kind of style. So it's a lot of hip hop, a lot of singing, but there's also a lot of dialogue to it too. Like that's not singing. So it almost has like a little hint of, dare I say it, Bollywood.
Your favorite.
So I mean, it's a very, in my opinion, it's a very entertaining musical. And it's not that long either. So it's not like it's 2 hours. So it's still, I guess, pretty long, but it's not a typical 3 hours that you get with a lot of musicals. So it's not going to drag on. It does a very good job of telling a really compelling story, basically about a guy who owns a bodega in a neighborhood in New York City, and it's tackling some of the challenges that like neighborhood change and gentrification, and basically him going along this path of trying to figure out and follow what his dream is. So it's really good. I enjoyed it. I think the cast was fantastic. I already mentioned Anthony Ramos. It's funny though, they put like Lin-Manuel Miranda on there, like he's like has this huge part and he's like in it for like 30 seconds. But then you have Jimmy Smits, who I didn't know could sing. That one was interesting.
Jimmy Smits plays me, the adult me, in the movie of my life.
Perfect. Then you had Corey Hawkins in there, but here was an interesting one. You had Mark Anthony. Thought he was dead. Didn't even know he was still alive. But Mark Anthony was in it. My wife pointed that out because I was like, I had no idea who he was. But, from a musical perspective, I do think it's really good. I think it's worth your time if you like musicals. It's not a 5 by any means. And a lot of people aren't going to relate to it in any way, shape, or form.
I might.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who frankly won't, and they won't like it just because it is tackling some of the it's more of a social film. It's hitting a lot of social issues, and for some of the opposite snowflakes, they can't handle that. But long story short, I can't talk too much about musicals because you either hate them or you like them. And if you like them, this one's definitely put it on your radar. If you like musicals, this is a 4, maybe a 5. You should watch it. If you don't like musicals, it's a 1. Don't watch it. It's a musical.
Why isn't it a 5 though?
It's just, in my opinion, I know it's not supposed to be rated like the best, but it's a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical, and it's not better than Hamilton, and it's not on the same par as Hamilton. So I was like, I can't in all conscience give it a 5.
Brad's just been making faces this whole time. So what's up, Brad?
I didn't want to do too much on this segment because of how much I talked in my first segment. But when Hummer called this an instant classic, like my theater nerd
superiority, gatekeeping,
awful, problematic side of me really had to hold back some outbursts throughout that. So, first of all, just so you know, In the Heights, it was kind of Lin-Manuel Miranda's coming out. It was his first Tony win before Hamilton. Everybody in the community of theater really knew about him because of this, and that's why Hamilton kind of exploded within the community first and then became a cultural phenomenon. Lin-Manuel Miranda is already receiving flack for this movie for not having a diverse enough cast.
You are damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Which he already apologized for. And I think it's ridiculous because the show takes place in Washington Heights. That's the neighborhood in New York you were talking about. It's a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood with very Hispanic background and influence. It's about that culture. Like,
wait, is it about Hispanic people or is it about Puerto Rican people?
I think it's mostly Puerto Ricans.
Yeah,
but
okay.
but it's that
Puerto Rican,
culture.
Dominican. I think Puerto Rican, Dominican.
It's that culture is the round table part of the show and its basis of story. So, like, I don't understand how it's not diverse enough when it's about. I don't get it. That's cancel culture at its worst.
It's an insanely diverse cast. Like, because it didn't feature all Puerto Ricans, you're going to throw a fit about it. Like, okay,
that's cancel culture right now. So
100%. It's like
that's right wing
so
cancel
diverse.
Culture.
Yeah,
it's so freaking diverse. I mean, I don't know what else people like. Really
it's literally
want.
A show celebrated for part of its diversity, just like Hamilton was.
Actually, they should have done a reverse Hamilton and done a story about a Puerto Rican community with all white people.
That's how to show them. Yeah, that's what'll end up happening at community theaters all throughout the Midwest.
Also, I don't like the term Hispanic because that's like almost like saying Oriental.
Yeah, I never know which one's right. So.
There's like, what does Hispanic mean, right? Like you got South American,
Spanish descent,
Chileans, Dominicans, you got Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans,
Yeah, tons.
Aren't they all Hispanic?
Shut up, Hummer. God damn it.
Anyways, I will always be okay with these styles of musicals.
I mean, you got Europeans. You got British people, German people. What are they? They're all Caucasian.
They're white people.
White. Anytime you put an H into it, every time you go like white, it's never a good sign.
People.
Well, I tell you, that's the color white.
I'll always be okay with these kinds of musicals because the masses get into them, and I support theater in general and like don't want to see it die ever. So when things like this become popular, I think it's great. I mean, to call it an instant classic, though, I mean, it's no West Side Story. There are so many better modern musicals. I'm really pumped for everyone to see Dear Evan Hansen on a full feature format because holy smokes, like that was an incredible musical. It's so sad. Everyone's going to cry when they see it. It's very poignant. It's the same people who did La La Land. I can't wait for everybody to get hip to it that isn't already into theater because it's an amazing, amazing musical. Then there's ones like Next to Normal and Fun Home that have come out over the last couple of years that are really just big in the Broadway community, haven't really seen mainstream success.
Like that's the point, though. Like, if they're not big in the mainstream, then it's not necessarily going to be an instant classic. Like, you have to have mass people to like it in order for it to even become a classic. And
yeah, but people
I
have
think
to be more into
this
theater
is
for
one.
that.
Yeah, but you don't have to be like and I hate to use this term here, but you don't have to be a deep theater nerd in order to like a musical. Like, if you're just like a class, like. Look, A West Side Story is a musical that everybody's forced to watch in high school. It's a classic, right? But it's not a classic to just like deep theater nerds. It's a classic to everybody because it's adopted by massive amounts of people. Grease, another like musical that's massive like in the mainstream. So when you have a musical like In the Heights that has the potential to be adopted as a musical that the mass likes, it could become a classic. Just like Hamilton is a classic because Hamilton is adopted by the masses, and I think that's what really makes it a classic.
But all of those were made into movies. You don't have your only opportunity to see them on stage, which is what theater really is.
In the Heights was on stage, and now it's made into a movie.
Yeah.
So
was Grease. So was West Side Story.
They literally took them and made them classics by making them into
movies.
By
making them movies is what you're saying.
So Rent is not a classic? So Rent's not a classic?
Rent is not a classic.
I
Don't
hate
even
Rent
get
fuck
me
out
started.
of here.
So hard.
Get the fuck out of here.
So hard.
Rent is such a fucking classic.
I hate Rent, and anyone who's ever been in any version of Rent.
Not.
Okay.
No. This
What Hummer's saying is that a majority of the people don't go to the theater and don't watch musicals.
Which is why Yeah, which is why I won't throw too much shade at something like In the Heights, because I like what it does for theater. It gets people interested. Maybe they'll go see actual shows and some other ones that are out there. I'm always about that. But it is what it is. Like, and I'm just telling you as somebody who is heavy into theater that, oh, hey, you like that? Well, why don't you go check out some of these other ones that are actually really good. And you talked about talking scenes in The Heights. It's because Hamilton was technically an operetta, which is a style of musical theater, or of a show, I guess it is. And then the other one's not a true operetta. So those are like little things that I just like can get you so much more into theater. And I never want theater to die, because I think it's like the best form of seeing presentation and acting and things like that is always going to be in live theater. And so I will always support things that do well in it, even if will debate with you why it's not that great.
Well, now you know how I feel when I'm like, oh, you like Marvel's Avengers? You should read this comic book. And then you never do. Now you know how I feel.
I've read some comics, though. Like that. I get when you say that to somebody else, but not to me.
Nope, you get it now.
No, you get it. You get it.
You get it, though.
Yeah, you get it though. But because I don't want to like the movie itself was good.
Is the Wizard? Would you consider the Wizard of Oz a musical?
The Wizard of Oz was a musical. It was a book first,
a musical
and
movie.
It became a stage
yeah, but it got turned into a movie, and it's considered one of the greatest classical musicals of all time.
I would say it's considered a classic movie, not a classic musical.
It's a musical.
It's a musical movie.
The movie is a musical.
Just like every Disney movie is a musical movie. And it's actually, some are now musicals.
Yeah. What about The Sound of Music?
I would say it's more classic as a movie than it was as a stage show.
Like, I'm just looking at like 1,000 different websites now that are all classifying these as musicals.
Yeah, but you got to remember they turned everything Rodgers and Hammerstein did into a movie at some point through the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Well, they're musicals, and they're classics, and they were turned into movies. Like, it's literally like your thing for saying it's not a classic is basically, well, they made it into a movie. Well, yeah, because that's how you reach the masses to make it become an actual classic, is to get into a format that is easily seen by the majority of people.
I don't like your definition of classic. This is what I'm going to say.
Fair enough.
Successful, sure. Classic, I don't know.
Well,
only time will tell.
Like, The Matrix was a really successful movie, but should it be on Turner Classic Movies?
At some point it should.
I disagree.
Is it not?
The Matrix, how is the first Matrix not like one of the, at the time, it was revolutionary for what it was doing with its special effects. That in itself makes it a classic movie right there. That's the reason why Star Wars, the first one, granted it's really good, also was revolutionary for its special effects. That's what gained its popularity. It wasn't a success at first. It gained its popularity, and people enjoyed it, and it was something new that was never been done before.
I don't know. Is anything post the year 2000 a classic?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what, like, you sit there and you say that, like, it might take time, but like Con Air is definitely an instant classic.
No, it's not. No, shut up.
Followed closely by Zoolander.
All right, Homer's done now. I'm moving on.
I know, I had to take it in a silly direction.
I think In the Heights was really good. I did fall asleep watching it the first time. It's a pretty good musical. I really hope it opens the door to you as the viewer watching more musicals or going to see musicals and theater, because there's so much good stuff, and you really are going to get true performances with. I mean, they can't trick you into thinking that somebody is a good performer live on stage. You're either going to find out if they're good or they're not. And one of my favorite theater stories of all time involves Hugh Jackman. And he was fresh off of doing the X-Men movies, and he was really well known as, Wolverine. And he was starring on Broadway in a musical about coming out as a gay man, basically. And he was going in for his big, momentous kiss moment with the other actor. And in the background, he just hears someone scream, "Wolverine, no!" he talks about it being one of the only times he broke on stage, and they had to do a full reset. Like, that's, I mean, problematic, sure, but amazing moment that you're only going to get in live theater.
I love that story.
And we have that. And we have that. Thank you for having me.
Actually, the first time I saw the trailer for In the Heights, I thought it was a trailer for West Side Story, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be sweet.
Remake. Yeah.
And then I found out Steven Spielberg's remaking West Side Story for some reason. That just seems tone deaf to me. I would have liked to see Lin-Manuel Miranda's take on West Side Story. That would probably be awesome.
Yes, I agree. But I'm still surprised there are some other musicals that haven't been turned into movies. When I was looking at it, like Wicked not being turned into a movie by now has been crazy to me. Like that, what I would say was an instant classic when it came to Broadway.
Well, I think that's because
Wicked
is a movie. It's
like
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but who's going to play Glinda and Elphaba? I mean, it'd have to be Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel. But they're too old.
I mean, when I saw it on Broadway, the people I saw do it, I thought were excellent. Megan Hilty and Eden Espinosa, both of whom have gone on and had semi-decent acting careers. So they definitely could find people to do it. I mean, I don't think that's a problem. I just think it's amazing that a show that had such an impact on Broadway and on musicals and on theater like that hasn't been turned into a musical. Literally, I think the only reason In the Heights got greenlit as fast as it did was because of the success of Hamilton. And I don't want to like discount what In the Heights was, because it won a Tony and it was really good and like really well done. But I think that's the only reason it was really greenlit.
I think the real reason that you like it's Wicked is it got the same treatment as Hamilton, where the original cast is so good that you put them on video in the theater. Like Hamilton's probably, I would never see Hamilton getting made into a movie. I would see Hamilton just always being shown as a play or a musical on stage in its taped form. And I think that's the same thing with Wicked.
I wish they did it more. I wish they did it more. I wish they did it with more shows. I saw the last one other than Hamilton I saw do that style. I mean, the ones they did on cable I thought were terrible because they tried to format it for TV. But I know like Shrek the Musical did a taped version of theirs, which is okay, but it's just Shrek the Musical. It's not a great musical. It's fun, but it's not great. But when Zachary Levi was in She Loves Me, they showed that on a streaming app, and it was an awesome experience to be able to watch a show that was being performed live in New York and a streaming service on a porch here in Ohio. Like, that was really cool. And I also got to see Benedict Cumberbatch do Shakespeare. I got to see him do a Shakespeare play as like a live stream performance, and that was like so cool. I wish they would do way more of that stuff.
I hear his Lear's the toast of Croydon, whatever that means.
My good chap.
That's actually from Iron Man 3, one of my favorite Iron Mans. Yeah. I wish we could see more actual film stage, because I want to see original cast. I want to see the actors that I'm listening to on the CD. That's what I want.
You know what stage show recording is really good, and you can watch on Netflix right now, is Oh Hello on Broadway. Excellent. It's John Mulaney and Nick Kroll character that they did on the Kroll show. And it's an excellent small 1 hour performance that they did on Broadway for like a month and a half. Highly recommend watching it. Very funny.
That actually just makes me want to rewatch Middleditch and Schwartz. Or watch more Middleditch and Schwartz.
Oh, more Middleditch and Schwartz would be great. Oh, you know what I saw? The next season of Thank You for Leaving, July 6th, baby. Cannot wait. July 6th is going to be such a good day when they post that whole season. Yeah, I've got to watch that. Amazing show.
Let me get into this Biomutant review real quick since we're so over on time. I won't even give it a full review because I haven't beaten it. It's just not great, and it's like I'm really pushing myself to make myself play it.
You've been spending a lot of time playing it.
No, I haven't. I've been out of town.
Every time I see you on Xbox, it's Biomutant.
I'm probably about a fourth of the way through it, honestly. So the premise, it's an open world RPG. You're animal, mutant, humans ruined the earth and left it toxic, and all the animals mutated into warring factions. And the gameplay itself, it's fighting and shooting, but it's not great shooting and it's not great fighting. Neither one's done well. So the majority of the time, what you're doing isn't great. Probably not even really good. The story is not super interesting. The premise is you have choices to make, so you can either like unite all the tribes and save the Tree of Life, or you can destroy all the tribes and destroy the Tree of Life. But the exposition's terrible because everybody talks in that sort of Banjo-Kazooie kind of way. Go, 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 go.
I love those sound effects, by the way.
Go, 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 go.
We haven't had enough sound effects tonight.
It's so good. Oh, I miss those so much. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
but it's not good. It's not well done, like and hilarious like Banjo-Kazooie. It's just like crappier versions of that. And then you have to sit through that, and then the annoying narrator is going to narrate whatever they say, and the narrator's like spouts off the whole time, says random stuff about what you're doing, totally irrelevant stuff, very annoying. So the way that the story's told through that lens is very frustrating. The choices that you can make like obviously like one tribe wants you to like, well, these guys are about uniting all the tribes, and you know it may or may not be the way to do it, but you know that's what their thing is. And the other tribe is, well, they want to be the only tribe because they're the right, so they want to destroy all the other tribes. Like, which way is the right way to choose? I don't know. And then in between every choice you make, you get a little sprite, like, you know, like classic cartoon angel and devil on your shoulder, pops up every time, and then they have this stupid cartoon argument every time you make a choice, and then like they fight each other, and then like the one wins over the other. Completely pointless, complete waste of time. It's so stupid. I hate it. The crafting in the game, though, is very fun. Like being able to make your own weapons, being able to find weapons and augment them, being able to find and create your own guns is like one of the coolest crafting systems done in a game. And like the way that you can mutate your powers and respec your stats, and like you can choose different skills and change them on the fly is really cool. But just the gameplay is just not there. I'm literally forcing myself to try to finish this game because I'm not really having fun with it at all. So this is going to be a quick review since we're running out of time here. It's not a full review because I haven't beat it. I don't know, maybe later down the road it somehow gets better. I don't see how it's going to. But I probably wouldn't even wait till this is on sale. I'm just, right now it's just a straight 2 out of 5. Which sucks because I was excited about this game. It looked cool.
Yeah, the trailers looked cool. But it sounds like you're gonna give it a
I wish I had that sound effect downloaded.
It's so good. Oh man, that made the games for me. Just walking around here in the old witch corner. Oh man, I can play that game all day.
Go, 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 go. Yeah, don't buy Biomutant. Oh man, the reason I wasn't gonna buy it because I read nothing but bad things, but then I saw, well, the developers did an update. They like toned down the annoying narration. They like fixed a lot of the beginning because a lot of people were saying that the beginning takes too long and it's boring, and like they fixed all that. And I'm like, okay, I'll check it out now, and it's still just. The quest system is cool though. Like it has a lot of elements that like each individual team that was working on different things, like you could tell some like put more effort in than the others, but it's just the mechanics of it. The actual fighting is just, man, I'm not having fun with it.
How very disappointing.
But we're way over time here, unless you guys wanted to add anything else.
Yes.
What can I do to add more time? What can I do to add more time? I got nothing.
I got nothing.
So that's all we got time for you guys this week. Thanks for sticking around. If you like this episode, make sure to leave a review on the app that you're listening to below. And you can reach us on all of our social medias at timesinkpod.com. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go.
Oh man, I can play that game all day.